You've got your bat, I've got mine.
She's not her bat.
These videos are not for children. If you're a children, then piss off.
Hey there, it's me, your least favorite YouTuber, Infuso. And when I heard that there was a new Catwoman movie in the works, all I could think of was, there's no way this movie could be as bad as the last Catwoman movie they made, right? Right? Well, about that. This movie very quickly became a chore for me to watch. And I found myself really eager to just get the whole thing over and done with. Had I not had to watch it to make this video, I would have never finished it. Like, I really wouldn't have. As a matter of fact, in its short runtime of 1 hour and 30 minutes, I took several intermissions. One of which lasting so long that I forgot what I just previously watched and then had to watch the whole thing over from scratch. I did not enjoy this movie. And it sucks because I really wanted to. To the movie's credit, there were a lot of good elements working for this movie. Unfortunately, there was a lot more bad elements working against it. So before I go into all the things I hated about this movie, and believe me, there is a list, let me first applaud the few things I liked. First and foremost, the movie is brilliantly cast. I'm a fan of almost everyone on the voice cast. Elizabeth Giles is not someone I'd ever pinpoint as a potential Catwoman myself. Like, that name would never come up in an attempted fan casting, not that that's something that I do. But in hindsight, she actually had the potential to be one of the best Catwoman I've ever heard. Honestly, her performance was worthy of better material, and I think it's a real shame that she was wasted in this. So here's to hoping we get the chance to hear her in the role again, just this time with better writing and directing.
I don't believe we've been properly introduced. The name's Selena Kyle, but please, call me Catwoman. Clearly, this fool's never had a date in his life, or he'd know a woman can lay a man low with a single swish of her hips. All right, no need to get excited. I thought this was supposed to be a party. Ooh, my kind of party. Perfect match.
Jonathan Banks is so eerie and effortlessly haunting anytime he speaks. And I'm not just talking about in this movie, I mean, like, in a generalized sense. I mean, sure, everything he says makes you want to laugh, but, you know, half the time it's because it's funny, the other half of the time it's really out of nervousness, because you don't want to know what happens if you don't laugh. Your corpse becomes the punchline. I think it makes perfect sense that he'd be portraying Black Mask. And I think that this casting choice makes the character feel that much more naturally threatening, while also making the character feel vaguely human. The actor's comedic chops do come into the equation every now and again, if even subtly or slightly.
It's an honor to finally meet the big boss in person.
Were you shooter already?
But boss, number one's in the way!
There, now he's out of the way.
I assume you can secure it until we're ready to depart.
But I suppose we all wear masks of a sort.
Indeed. I have simply chosen not to hide mine.
Keith David. I don't even have to comment on Keith David. The guy always does good work no matter what he's in. Case in point, he did a good job here and it's a shit movie. So as always, I enjoyed his performance and I thought that he was a nice inclusion. But you can copy and paste this and put it in everything that Keith David is in, and it would be accurate because I feel the same way each and every time. I mean, that man played a gargoyle and an evil witch doctor. I don't know what else I need to tell you about him. The guy could do everything. And he does. Stephanie Beatrice is someone whose work I actually really enjoy. She's someone that I want to see get involved in these type of projects. And if there is even so much as a theory of a god, we one day will get to see her as Renee Montoya. Okay, I just fan casted right after I said I didn't fan cast, so bad timing on that one, but we're gonna move on. She's someone I wanted to see make it to the Batwoman TV series. But now here playing Batwoman? I don't know. She just wasn't doing it for me. There are times in this movie when she's interacting and not putting on a voice that seem actually pretty good. But then the other half of the movie, she's doing her Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine voice.
Congratulations, Selena. You just became Leviathan's #1 target.
Mama's trying to sleep.
Mama should be trying to stay out of prison.
Wanna test it?
Yeah, I'll trust you on that. Pretty much only on that.
And it's really distracting. I don't understand why, because that's not the way that she normally sounds. I don't know, I think it was a bad choice. Like, this is such a distinct voice, and that voice doesn't really align with the design of the character anyway. I just don't understand who made this decision, but I wish they didn't. Like I said, I like her work, I just didn't like her too much here though. There are some genuinely good moments in this movie. Some funny lines of dialogue performed by people who are actually pretty damn good in their respective roles.
It's 2 against 1.
3 against 1. Okay, 2 against 1. I did not sign up for this. Did you sign up for this? You really have to think about that?
I definitely did not sign up for this.
She's saying your service is complete and you should go home.
But in that same respect, it doesn't stay like that the entire time. The dialogue could come off as a little bit more than goofy, like Catwoman's introduction, including her hitting on a party of people and making a reference that she'll steal their partners away, is just really lame, even for Catwoman. And the fact that they repeat that same awful joke 6 times in the same scene really isn't doing it any favors.
Oof, hold on to that one, love, or I might just steal him away. Oof, hold on to that one, love, or I might just steal her away. Is this your guy? Hold on tight, or I might just steal him away. Oh, I love your pearls. Might just steal those away, too.
I do like that Catwoman's relationship with her own cat comes into play, and that her pet is an actual character in the story. A lot of adaptations neglect this aspect of Catwoman, and just have her be a crazy cat lady who takes on local strays. The little kitten is pretty adorable, even if she is unfortunately named. Seriously, in terms of pet cat names, the worst 2 offenders have to be Catwoman and H.P. Lovecraft. I also really liked that they had a costumed party where all the attendees are dressed up as some of DC's greatest heroes and villains. I mean, sure, it's been done before, but I liked it when it was done before, and I like it now that it's done now. They really went all out. You're not just getting your typical Batman and Supermans. You also get an old school Green Lantern somewhere in there.
That's what I call craftsmanship. And you boys thought I wouldn't notice!
And having Catwoman show up in her classic 80s to 90s attire, before switching into her more modern late 2000s redesign, was a nice touch.
You know, I appreciate the classics, but I move with the times.
I like that they assembled all the characters in the DC universe that have cat motifs. It works, and their interactions go exactly the way that you would think they go.
Cat fight?
Cat fight. Oh, cat fight.
Big cat fight.
And if you're into cat puns, well then don't you worry, cause this movie is the pussy galore. Solomon Grundy also had a pretty dope design. Black Mask too, now that I think about it. But outside of them, I just thought that everyone kinda looked a little bit basic. Which isn't a complaint that's exclusive to this movie. But considering that they were doing something different in the style of animation, you would think that we'd get something a little bit more interesting. Take, for example, Batman Ninja. That movie took the Batman concept and they went all in on the anime factor. And those redesigns are actually pretty dope. It'd just be nice to see some advancements made with these otherwise typical character models. Again, not the end of the world, but I just wish a little bit more was done with them. Just all a little bit basic and disappointing for me. Like, these aren't the worst designs of these characters whatsoever, but they're just so bland. It's a real middle-of-the-road type character model. And I think in that way, it perfectly represents this movie. Because it's not so bad that it's funny, it's so bad that it's bad. At least funny bad movies have staying power. Like, I will never forget Batman and Robin, or the Halle Berry Catwoman movie I mentioned at the beginning of the video. But this movie I will forget about tomorrow, and I will be happier for doing so. I gotta say, I really love the intro animation. It made me watch and pay attention to opening credits, which is not something I normally do. I like the little nods to Batman the Animated Series, I like the art style there, but I really can't say the same for the rest of the movie. Now, I'm not saying that this animation is bad, per se. Warner Brothers certainly has made cheaper. I'm not throwing any digs, I'm stating the obvious. Warner Brothers, love you. You're great. Never change. Maybe change a little bit. Like I said, I'm not saying that the animation is bad. It's just not for me. I'm not really a Japanese animation kind of guy. And I don't necessarily think that the world of Batman hits the same with an anime filter thrown over it. Watching this just reminded me of the brief glimpses I've caught of 90s and 2000s anime when I was a kid. Watched a lot of Cartoon Network and WB, sometimes those things come on. Like these guys over here are giving me total Tuxedo Man vibes, and I just didn't ask for that in my Batman film. I don't know, it's not for me, I'm not really a fan. But I think it's well done nonetheless. And I think it does give this movie its own unique look. It's just not a look I like.
Not bad. You're nailing it.
Thanks, Randy.
Yeah.
It means a lot.
God damn it, I don't know what it is about your face, but I want to deliver one of these right in your suck hole.
Speaking of faces, this dude. What is up with his face? It's like just his face is completely orange, but the rest of him is pale white.
What's wrong with your face?
Considering that he's speaking in Spanish, I'm gonna guess that this was an attempt at drawing a Hispanic person?
Sí, señorita.
And if so, Side note, I'm actually a little bit colorblind, so there's a fair chance that his face only looks so ridiculously out of place to me and me alone, so feel free to gaslight me in the comment section about this. You know what? I think the best thing I could do is not say anything about it at all. So, moving on. There's so much of this movie that just doesn't seem to fit in the world of Batman. Like this scene right here. What in the name of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is this? Am I watching a Batman Project sans Batman? Or am I playing a game of Duel Monsters? At this point, I don't really know. But I'm leaning more toward the latter. But I think the absolute worst part of this movie, the worst thing that this Catwoman film had to offer, has to be the flirtation of a Batwoman-Catwoman romance. Like, whose fanfiction is this? I'm gonna jot this down as being the second worst pairing in all of Batman history. And right above it is Batman and Batgirl. But this is a very close second. It's kind of shitty that while Catwoman is openly pursuing and is sort of involved in an on-again, off-again romance with Bruce, that she'd knowingly try to seduce his cousin. And it's even shittier that his cousin Kate would be so willing to do so. That's not the Selina I know. But more importantly, that's not the Kate Kane I know. Making her so willing to get involved with Catwoman, like she was looking to hop in the bath with her, makes her look like a schoolgirl with a crush. And it honestly kind of decreases the character's integrity and pride. Yes, Batman and Catwoman wound up together. But it was after a prolonged period of time of the two working with and against each other, and constant flirtations along the way. Feelings formed and inevitably, Batman gave in. That is a completely different arc than Catwoman leaning in and then Batwoman being like, oh shit, this is happening. She was so instantaneously ready to risk it all. Her hero status, relationships with her family members, the whole shebang, also she could bang. I don't know, I don't think this properly portrays either character. And the icing on the cake of it all was when the Bat allowed the Cat to unmask her just because she thought she'd be taking off more. This is cheap and goofy. And again, it doesn't really paint either of these characters in the proper light. I get the fact that this was done so Catwoman could steal from her. She had her reasons, sure. But the fact that Kate went along with it with such little resistance just doesn't feel like the character I know. As a matter of fact, it kind of discredits the character I know. You're making her look like a love-struck amateur.
All right, Selina. Enough with the faux sexual tension.
Honey, there's nothing faux about it.
This upsets me so much more because there really haven't been that many on-screen interpretations of Batwoman. And the ones that there are either alright at best, or horrible mischaracterizations at the worst. Kate Kane is actually an interesting character. Batwoman is actually an interesting character. But there's no proof of this if you've never read her comics. And as somebody who did, I assure you, she is. Unfortunately, all of the evidence is in written form. And here's the kicker here. Outside of the weird sexual tension this movie felt the need to force, I guess because Catwoman is bisexual and Batwoman is a lesbian, so they gotta have the hots for each other by nature, you know? You put them, they're not gonna be able to take their hands off each other. You know, never in history have two gay people existed that weren't attracted to each other. That's just not how this works, apparently. And before y'all go to try to cancel me, that is a joke on the way Hollywood, or whoever's in charge of making movies, view gay relationships. Not a declarative statement that I myself am making, just so we're clear. But outside of that, the character interactions are fun and pleasant. I liked seeing them team up. I liked their back and forth banter. It felt very buddy copy. These two are so different, yet they have to try to coexist as a unit to save the day. You know, it's a classic trope, but it's a classic that still holds up really well today. I really think that they were on the cusp of having something great here, but it got ruined by someone who wanted to show the world their own shipping. Really wish they would have just kept that on DeviantArt. But what makes this movie even weirder is that it kinda sort of officially, not officially, takes place in the Young Justice universe. But not really. But really. But not really. Apparently some of this is canon, but not to a T. These events happened in the Young Justice universe, but they happened a little bit differently, which just makes me think, what's the point? There are several elements to this movie that both line up and deviate from that continuity. Like, Talia al Ghul is played by the same voice actress in Young Justice and in this movie, but her accent is changed in between the two. Cheshire here is representing the League of Shadows, as she goes after Batwoman, but meanwhile in Young Justice, Cheshire already betrayed the League by time Batwoman showed up in that continuity. Some of the supporting cast from Young Justice returns for this movie, but then there are other reoccurring roles that are now recast. And obviously the animation isn't the same. Supergirl exists in this universe, but doesn't exist in Young Justice. All of this is just a little bit confusing. It either does take place in this universe or it doesn't. I'm all for a multiverse, but don't give me this middle ground bullshit.
Are you in or are you out?
I think what makes me hate this movie more than anything else is that there was so much good in it that it shouldn't have ended up as bad as it was. It's unfortunate. It's like all this effort and good decision making was put into something that wound up feeling lackluster. I don't know. I'm not angry at you, Warner Brothers. I'm just disappointed. There was a lot of potential here, and to see it squandered, well, it just kind of sucks. So when it comes to the question, would you recommend this movie? It's like the great philosopher Randy Jackson once said, "It's gonna be a no from me, dog." They set up a sequel, which at first I kind of sighed off, but after a second watching, I think I'd be open to it. I would actually check it out. There was just enough good stuff in this movie for me to be hopeful that a sequel would be an improvement. When I see Catwoman hunted, I don't see a total shit show. I see a diamond in the rough that never got the chance to shine. Insert clever pun here about Catwoman stealing said diamond in the rough. I wouldn't say it's overall bad, but I just don't feel like it's all that good. I can't say that this is a must-watch. It's more like if it somehow happens to be on and you got nothing else to do, why not? I don't hate this movie, but I just don't like it. Anyway, with all that being said, I was your least favorite YouTuber, Infuso, and I thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.
Is there anything I can do to work on that?
No, not really. It's your face. And again, you're doing great, man. But if you don't change your face, I'm going to change it for you.
Okay.
I am vengeance. I am the night. And that was Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.
All I can do is take that in and consider it, and I'll just try to do my best version of whatever I think that would be.
I don't even hear what you're saying right now because your face is driving me nuts.